Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to EduTALK. EduTALK is a virtual talk show created out of the need for a global learning community, and we focus on topics in education that directly impact Caribbean nations and diaspora nationals working across the globe. EduTALK features teachers, principals, business leaders, and dignitaries who share their expertise on critical topics facing education today, with a common goal of moving education forward and our students upward. I am your host, Dr. Dwayne Dyson. I'm the CEO and founder of Education Solutions International, and I am joined by Miss Michelle Neal, and she is, I think, you're Michelle Tolluch-Neil. I don't
That
know
is correct.
what the middle name, the
I
one part,
hyphenated.
yeah, part of your last name, Michelle Tolluch-Neil, and she is the representative. It's Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, and she's the Northeast United States representative. Um, she's also a professor, an adjunct professor at Harcum College, and she's working in the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office as a senior victim advocate to I think you're still working with the advocates as an advocate for within that district attorney's office. That's
That is
really
correct.
good, prestigious. We want to talk, we're going to talk a little bit about that part of it too, but want to talk because a lot of people want to know about the diaspora and the leadership in the diaspora. So welcome to EduTalk, Michelle. It has been a while trying to get you out of your busy schedule to spare a few minutes.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to come on tonight to have a conversation with you. And I want to say good evening also to your listening audience and those who are listening and viewing us at the same time. So good evening, and it's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, the honor is all mine too. So talk to us about the let's start with the district attorney's office as a senior victims advocate. What is your motivation in becoming an advocate for the victims, and what victims are we talking about here?
All right. So for first things first, I work in the juvenile unit.
Okay.
So this has to do with all um, crimes that have been committed in the city of Philadelphia by a juvenile, unfortunately. And so our main purpose is to try as much as we can
Mhm.
to put the victim back in the position they were before this incident happened. So we deal with every case except those that involves guns or drugs. That is set for another section. So say for example, um, a kid maybe have a fight at school or a police officer and they're arrested. And so the person that is the victim in this case would be the school police officer or if there's a child. And then through the victim, the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, we have various options for kids because at the end of the day, it's all about rehabilitation for our kids. So we can either put them in a diversion program, we can either have them because there's a more intense training and responsibility and monitoring, then we'll do that through the court system. At the same time, we'll always have the victims play a part because without the victims playing their part, we won't be able to have a successful prosecution.
Mhm.
So juvenile court is a little bit different. The language is different. It's softer because we just want to try to make sure we can do in our own way our part to make sure they become a productive member of society. At the same time, what happened to the victim is also important. They need to be reimbursed. So there's restitution involved, there's counseling involved. So we provide all that services. However, we do not do it on our own. There are many community agencies in the city of Philadelphia to make sure these services are available for our victims.
Oh, okay. It's a comprehensive approach to rehabilitate juveniles. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you say about the impact even nowadays when you have a lot of influence on social media and family life, family values are changing, and you have coming out of the pandemic too. Do you find that you have more problems with juveniles now than in the past, even before the pandemic?
Yes, there is. Unfortunately, there is. Mental health is very, very real, sorry. And that's one of the reasons why, even as a Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, we are planning a mental health forum
Mhm.
because it has to be addressed. Unfortunately, being inside for 2 years or not being able to relate to one another or just to be outside has really affected our kids. One of the sad parts of um, COVID, where children are concerned, was that sometimes the family member is a sexual abuser. And
Mhm.
so the child was in the home during that time. Normally, if it's at school, at least there's a reprieve because they're at school and that it won't be affected. So definitely, we have seen an increase in all crimes where children are concerned. Also, there's a lot of anger that we need to address. And so it has been very, very challenging for our kids. They're just not accustomed to living like this. Some of us, it was okay to
Mhm.
be inside, but for kids, it was different. You're asking them to wear a mask, you're asking them to stay away from their best friend. So the trauma behind it is what's really our main issue. So we have to be lenient at the same time because not only do I work for the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, I also work with what's called a youth aid panel program, which is a diversion program that works with the defendant themselves. And
Oh.
in that capacity, we have to try and make sure we are providing them with as much counseling as possible. And children, they don't need you to talk to them, but they want you to listen to them and
Mhm.
help them walk through this and give them options
Mhm.
on how to deal with this. But mental health, it's very real and we have to address it and constantly talk about it and educate our each person how
Yeah.
to deal with it. And when you see it, what you can do.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. And that's it takes everybody to get involved with it, with the family and all the authorities. But
Mhm.
we're seeing it too in our schools in New York City with the problem with mental health.
Mhm.
And we're trying desperately to do something about it. There's no one way at all to tackle it.
Mm-mm.
It's so good that you're working on that, and then leading in the diaspora, the global diaspora, Jamaica diaspora Northeast, Global Jamaica Diaspora Council Northeast, and just tell us a little bit about your motivation in getting into diaspora leadership. What's the motivation?
The motivation is to work with our people.
Mhm.
And I say our people, I mean all people.
Yes.
Um, and so it's you can't help. I mean, I should say I can't help but trying to see how I can make a difference in somebody's life. How I can connect one person with resources here, which is actually an umbrella of what I actually do in my office work as well. You know,
Mm.
it's always connecting victims to resources.
Yeah.
So for me, it was not really a dramatic change because I have a love of country and
Mm.
love of people. And I want to do my best to see how I can help them thrive, whether they're in the diaspora or they're in Jamaica. What is it that I can do in my own way to
Yeah.
help them? And as you know, my thing is education, which is why I have all of these forums. You
Yes.
name a topic, I will find somebody who can educate us because I do believe the more educated you are on a topic, the
Hmm.
more you can speak to it, right? And you can contribute. You don't have to know everything, but you need to know a little bit about everything so you can be part of the big conversation and make changes in our own little ways.
Mhm. Yes, yes, that's true. Speaking of making changes in our own little ways, you just started, it's almost a year now in March. Your your leadership tenure in the position of representative in Northeast. For people who are watching or are listening, can you go over this idea of Northeast? What's the geographical comparison composition of Northeast?
All right, so right now the Northeast is consists of 14 states. So, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna go through them very quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm gonna write them as I talk, just in case I don't remember. So
yeah,
there is New York,
yeah.
there is New Jersey, there is Delaware, there is Maryland, there is Maine,
Mm-hmm,
there is DC, there is Virginia,
mm-hmm,
there is West Virginia, there is Connecticut, there is Massachusetts,
mm-hmm.
and Rhode
Rhode
Island,
Island, yes.
and New Hampshire.
Okay, wow.
I had to write.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very good. And you're saying that that there are Jamaicans in all of these states.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Um, and the thing about that, even if it's 100 and something, we are everywhere.
Yes,
Because like Maine and New Hampshire would and West Virginia would have a little less.
yes.
But the bulk is like New York and Connecticut and so forth has a bulk of diasporans.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yes.
So I want to say that I enjoy working with diaspora people because of you get your food and you get legal advice for back home and even for here too in
Mhm.
America. What do you see you have to tackle mostly? Some of the issues that come up. Which ones are more volume of?
Okay, so I should say what I decide with the 14 states, what
Yeah.
I decided to do, because the diaspora is all about engagement.
Hmm.
How can we connect and collaborate? The last stats that I saw, they stated that there's over 500,000 of us in the Northeast. So I have a lot of people to connect with. And so, with that being at the back of my mind to connect, I said, how am I going to do it? I live in Philadelphia. So, let us have what's called a cozy chat. And then I decided to try and find individuals in each state that people might not know, but they are doing the work here and abroad, and just kind of talk about it and give people ideas. Because even last week we had a wonderful person was talking about how she used real estate to get people involved in purchasing house. And
Yeah.
you realize sometimes you don't even realize how much gift and how much talent and treasure you have to share with the community.
Mm.
So by me having these people talking, you get an idea. It's like I can do the same thing too. However, I do a lot of listening tour, which is what I've always said I was going to do when I was campaigning, so to speak. And I listen to the churches, people at the churches, or anywhere I go to the market,
Mm.
and I meet in Jamaica. I was like, what's going on? And I remember when I was at the first church, and the lady was like, I do not like the automated machines at the grocery store. That's what she called automated machines. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
But at the grocery store, and my granddaughter coming around and talking about this thing and AI, this and AI that. I don't like AI, Miss Michelle. I don't like AI. And then I kept on hearing that conversation. I said, you know what? I think I need to have an education on what AI is, because it's not going anywhere.
Hmm.
And so I had that. And that was supposed to be a 2 hour forum. It ended up being 3.5 hours.
Wow.
But yeah, and I need to do a part two on that actually.
Yeah, yeah.
But my greatest joy was a couple weeks after they started talking about Chat GPT in
Hmm.
Philadelphia. And the ladies would call me and say, Michelle, no, I know what Chat GPT is. And so for me, that was one of the joys of having on an AI. Then people talk about, we love Jamaica.
Hmm.
And then they were talking about, what, I want to go back to Jamaica. How do I go about buying a house and settling in Jamaica? And one thing that you'll find with Jamaicans, we are, as you know, we are everywhere, but we have the expertise in various areas. And all I need to do is pull out a clarion call, so to speak. And I was like, people are asking me about what it is, what it takes to move back to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, oh, I know somebody from here. I know somebody from here. I know somebody from here. And then eventually we had one that called the nuts and bolts of moving back to Jamaica or buying a
Yes,
house in Jamaica.
yes,
And we
yes.
had people from the Victoria Mutual Building Society showing us and walking through, and the attorneys in Jamaica. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where I get my ideas for all the topics.
Mm-hmm.
And just like how you did one on Constitution,
Yeah.
because that's a topic, we are moving into, are we going to be a republic or not? A lot of people didn't know what that meant. So
Yeah.
I had that conversation as well. And the great thing about that one was I had two committee members that are actually sitting on having that discussion, was on the forum, so they could talk to people what it is. I do need to have a follow-up because people are saying, Michelle, to be honest with you, I don't know what's in the Constitution. Can you get me some attorneys to break down each section? So that is it. So that's how I get my topics and know what I need to do. So I'm always thinking about engaging. How am I going to engage? So I need to meet all those people. We call it the cozy chat, so
Yeah.
nobody feel any pressure. Just talk about what you do. And
Yeah.
then the forums is about educating you on what's happening.
Yeah, you brought up some good points too with the AI and the initiatives by listening. And it's very good that you start listening because you can cater for people's needs and you really sound like a very good connector of people, engaging person is very good. Um but they not but the AI, you're right, AI is not going anywhere with ChatGPT or all the generative AI systems that they have. It's very important that we start knowing more about them and getting on board with these, how to use them, how to train them to become our own assistants. It's very, very important because they're not going anywhere. Um, what's the speaking of listening to people and going, like virtually moving out through the diaspora or physically moving through the diaspora and meeting people, because your leadership span through all these 14 states, and that's why I asked you about them earlier. um what's your objective, like, for the tenure that you have, for in terms of your leadership in the diaspora?
My focus is always the top three things that's important in life. If you solve them, the others will follow. And I
Yeah.
always think it's education, health, and crime.
Mhm.
So what is it that we can do in the education sphere? Um, we would like to be like other Caribbean countries where they are 99% educated. Um, Jamaica's rate is lower than that. So what is it that we can do? I had the opportunity to visit even my own primary school when I was in Jamaica in August, and I realized that they didn't even have a computer lab. So you come back and you said, okay, how can we work on these resources and make sure they have a teacher so we can start teaching our primary school children so they can be prepared for the world.
Mhm.
So I will always push an education agenda. Health is important, but not only do I have to know everything about health. There
Mhm.
are foundations like the Jaja foundations and so
Yeah.
forth who are doing the work. So for them, I just need to partner with them to make sure that happens. We
Yeah.
have crime. I work in the DA's office, so I know all about crime. So I am working along with the police. What is it that we can do here? But I also extending an hand to Jamaica. I would like for you to collaborate with the police districts that I work with here, and you can share what you do in Jamaica, and we can share what we do here as well.
Very.
So those three things are what I'm going to be pushing as my agenda. I'm also a part of a women's board, which is in a hospital here, and I would like for us to come to a point where we can bring people even from Jamaica, because we don't want them to leave, but to
Yeah.
learn and
Mhm.
go back home
Right.
so
Right.
they can, so we don't have that constant brain drain in nursing and teaching and so forth. But what can we do while we are here? Also, there are a lot of us right here that needs help.
Yes.
So by me connecting and going to all these different states, and when
Mhm.
I go to states, I try to do three things. One, I would like a roundtable talk.
Yeah.
I would like to eat at a restaurant, and I would like to go to church. Because that's
Yeah.
where you find
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
And you can hear their hearts and
Mhm.
what they need. And so, as long as I have advisors, I would call them, or individuals that I can reach out to. When I listen to you, you might have a legal problem. I do have some attorneys that I know that are in Philly, in New York, that I can say, hey, this person's having this problem. Is there any way you can help? And we have a giving spirit and we want to help, but we sometimes we just don't know how to. So
Mm.
I feel like I can be there to tell you, okay, this is what you want to do. Let me connect you. So I want to be that connector to not only because I live in Philadelphia, but I would like to see what I can do to make sure while you are here, you are thriving wherever you call home, you
Mm.
thrive. So if at the end of it all, I am able to have more people educated,
Yeah.
we're trying to fix the health, all we eat, cut down on that sugar, the diabetes, and all that
Mhm.
issues that we can fix, exercise, walk around. I see my dad, he's here visiting. And when I got home, he was walking around the block. Just little things that we can do to make sure we can expand our life as well.
Yeah,
So
that's
those are
very
my
good. Yeah, yeah, those are very good areas to focus on with education and health and crime and violence among people. And there's nowhere, I don't see where we're going to done away with all that at all. It seems like it's becoming more of a need than even in the past too. Um, but how do you see, you mentioned something about Jamaicans, how they're living here, you want to contribute to health and so on. Um, do you find that we, people in Jamaica, you find yourself needing to give back more or to share? You know how we share intellectual knowledge. But is it that Jamaicans in the diaspora give back more than the sharing? Because when you look back at Jamaica or any of those countries in the Caribbean and people who are living here from there in the diaspora, they tend to say, you send back, we don't want you to mingle in our leadership or what we're going on here, but give us your money, give us goods and whatever else you have. So is there a balance in the sharing or the collaborative nature of it, or if it's just one-sided where we constantly have to give back?
well, we need to change the mindset. We have created that
Yeah.
where we are, if there's a problem, we throw money at it and think that's the answer. So we have to change that. We have to teach them how to. I'm also a missionary and we do work elsewhere.
Yeah.
And yes, we do give money, but we will set it up so that they can be entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what you need to do. You can't, because once you give and give and give, then people will have this expectation that I can just sit and do nothing
Yeah.
because Dr. Dwayne is going to give me something. So we need to change that. So, yes, you need this, but let me show you what you need to do to get to that point.
Mm.
Or how about meet them halfway?
Yeah.
Right? You want a computer,
Yeah.
computer is $300. Let's see what you can do. I can give you half, you come up with half. So it
Yeah.
depends on each case, but definitely we have to change that. We created that. So we have to change it and say, let me show you how to get your own money, how to get this. Let me show you let me help you with your homework so you can finish out school. Um, you know, that's where I think we need to do, because yes, right now it seems to be we throw money at everything, and that's not the answer. It's just a band-aid to what underlying problems are.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. I'm not gonna keep you long. I know you're busy. Um, the what I want to ask too, how is your family in terms of the support from your family and with you in this big position, international, people looking in all the time. What is the feedback you're getting from your family? Is it like they're checking in on you, your mental health. They're saying, don't take up too much, this is your mandate. You have three things you're focusing on. You know how families are. What's the influence and the feedback?
Dr. Diet, you sure you don't have my house bugged? Because that's exactly, you sure? I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I am worried about this conversation now. But yeah, basically what it is. And I still have a brother in Jamaica who's just not even fazed by this. He's
Yeah,
like, yeah, okay. Anything you need me to do? Well, like when he visits,
yeah,
he'll be like my driver, right? He'll take
yeah,
me any and everywhere. So that's how it is. But yes, the family is talking about the mental health. They do just about everything for me right now to make sure I have time to give back to the community. So, and family is extremely important to me.
yes.
Over the years, I've been in Team Jamaica Bickle, which is where I started off.
Yeah, yes,
And
yeah.
right now, my mother is a volunteer, my sister is a volunteer, my brother is a volunteer, his wife is a volunteer. And I just do that whole community thing, that family thing. Whenever I travel, my mom is usually with me.
Yeah.
So now if I go places, it's unusual. People's like, "Where's your mother?" I'm like, "Hold on, am I chopped liver?" You know, I'm like, "Come on." Yeah, but she's always there with me, supporting. And it's nice when you are giving a speech or doing something and you look in the crowd, you see a
Yeah,
family friend or a best friend.
true.
It does give you the confidence that you need to carry on, because we all, as it would say, no man is an island, and you
Yeah,
can't do this all alone.
yeah,
And that's the beauty of the diaspora, is that people are just amazing.
yes,
I,
yes,
I kid you not.
yeah.
The great part about this is the people you meet and how people just want to help and
Mhm.
support, and you just say it, and somebody knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yes,
And we are such a giving people. Don't get me wrong, we have our
yeah,
problems, right?
yes, yes,
But
yes.
at the bottom of it all, I have total support. I said, this is what's going on. And you know, one thing about Jamaicans, we are very opinionated, right?
Yes, that's true. Is
Okay. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, family is important, but stop bugging my house.
I will stop. I will clean up the wires. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is my final question for you to share. For now. Um in terms of, we can talk about family and so on and support. What exactly can people do, especially people who are in positions like yourself, who are working hard, have a lot of things juggling. What advice can you give to them in terms of their own health, not just mental but physical too, and with food too that they're eating, so it's not just exercising. What can you tell them?
All right. So, I'm going to tell you about myself.
Yeah.
For me, I am a woman of God. So,
Mm,
that's what keeps me centered.
mm,
So I will try as much as possible to make sure I am in church on Sunday to get that word to prepare me for the rest of the week.
mm.
So that's the first thing that I do. And even if I travel, I can listen to my service online. So it doesn't matter where I am, I'll still be in church. So for me, that is important.
Yeah.
I also take time to, the phone is a good thing, but it can be a bad thing. So if I am out and say, for example, you and I are having dinner, I
Mm,
literally turn my phone off because I want to be present with you.
mhm.
And it means a lot to the person across the table. So that's one thing I do. So I
Yeah.
keep my church keep me centered. When I am talking to you now, like I would not look at my phone because you are the most important person right now.
Mm,
I try to exercise, I try to eat healthy, and most importantly, drink a lot of water.
okay.
And then allow the the positive individuals around you to constantly pour into you. So
Yes.
you need to differentiate the naysayers and the positive sayers, because you want to make sure that is what is being poured in you. Because the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth
Yes.
speak. So
Yes.
therefore, if good things are in me, when I open my mouth, I
Mhm.
should be able to talk life into your situation,
Mm.
speak power into you, so you can go on and be what your best self to each and every person I meet. So I would say a little bit of thing. My religion, my family, exercise, drink a lot of water, and be present when you're in front of an audience.
Yeah, very good. And we can close on that note. Excellent, excellent. I'm
Thank
sure
you. Thank
everybody,
you.
yeah, would get something from that. Michelle Tolluch-Neil, thank you so much. The Global Jamaica Diaspora Council representative for Northeast USA. And thank you so much. And I really wish you all the best with your leadership. And I'm right behind you 100%. Just, cheering you on. So enjoy the rest of your week, and thank you. We'll talk again very, very soon.
Not a problem. But
Yeah,
thank you for allowing me to come and just talk to your listening audience and to give me this opportunity for me, this is really relaxing. So thank you for being such a great host that I feel like I'm having a conversation, just you and I, which we are. So
yes,
thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. Keep up
yeah.
the good work. Your topics are just as amazing as mine. I listen to you and I get an idea. I was like, oh, or
Yeah,
your word. I was like, okay, I'm gonna plagiarize it, but I'm gonna put a twist on it.
yeah, that's fine. It's totally fine.
My pastor will always said it's okay to copy as long as you copy the right cat.
Yeah,
So
there's a twist on it. That's very good.
yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Viewers, this has been EduTalk. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for your viewership. I wish you all the best for this week. Stay tuned for another edition of EduTalk. Next week, this has been a wonderful conversation with the Northeast USA, Northeast representative. That's Miss Michelle Tolluch-Neil. And if you want to know more about her, check her out. Google her, and you'll find out quite a bit of information on her and her leadership. What good, everybody. Take care. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.